Welcome back to Beards and Brews. Hey, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe or follow no matter where you're listening. Not only does it help us out, but you'll know exactly when we have another one brewing. Fellas, you gotta tell me, what is the procedure for a movie like Set It Off?
Point Black is a hood classic up there with Lep
All
in
right.
the Hood.
Oh,
right?
no. You can't. Oh, all right. Okay, so for
We
those
here
who
at
don't
Beards
know,
and Brews Broadcasting don't...
there he is. The return of FCC Eric. All right, so for those that don't know, this is a 1996 F. Gary Gray joint from the creator of, I don't know that he created it, the director of Friday. So this is a certified hood classic. Also the director of the remake of The Italian Job. Is that right? Did somebody say that?
I don't know if I was like dyslexia or whatever, but like I had to look him up, see what he did, because this guy's name is very unique. And not only did he do this, of course, Italian Job, which we had mentioned, but straight out of Compton. This guy's all over the place.
Yeah. He's done a lot of music videos too. This guy is truly ingrained in like 90s urban culture. So, you know, we should be set up for something good here, right?
I want to say maybe, but I also want to say I'm sorry for picking this movie. Not that it's terrible, but because I had this movie and Dead Presidents confused with one another, and I didn't realize it until 10 minutes into the movie when I went, oh shit.
Well, for what it's worth, I didn't dislike this movie. I probably liked it a good bit. But I would say the driving force behind this movie and what makes it good is probably just really two people. It's Queen Latifah, who is the star. She's really the star of this. And Vivica Fox, who is also mostly very solid.
You know, that's a very, very valid point, because a lot of this movie I had a hard time with the characters. That was like the one thing that was holding me back from just enjoying it without thinking about it, because like everybody in this movie comes off incredibly stupid. I couldn't get behind some of these character decisions, and I just, at a certain point, I just kind of gave up on the whole thing. But Queen Latifah and Vivica A. Fox, being the talented women that they are, no matter the lines that are coming out of their face, I at least believe whatever they're trying to assert in the scene, especially in the beginning scene, this little prologue we have of Vivica A. Fox working at a bank.
You got D'Lo Brown in there with an Uzi killing people, and I was blown away by the fact that Vivica Fox has a man basically executed, splatters blood all over her. The way she sells that is 110% legitimate. It sets such a serious tone for the opening of this movie. And then you get like introduced 10 seconds later to Luther, their employer, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? It's such a different vibe immediately. So it's so weird to go from super serious to Key and Peele sketch.
Yeah, so there are 4 women who are the lead roles in this movie. One, Vivica Fox, we've just mentioned. She plays a bank teller until guy comes in, tries to rob the joint, and they think that she's somehow involved because they come from the same hood. So they're like, oh, they definitely know each other. She's involved. You're fired. The other 3 ladies, the aforementioned Queen Latifah, as well as the god-awful Jada Pinkett Smith.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
And the 4th girl, whose name I didn't even look up, but she is also just not a good actor. I'm sorry, she's just across the board pretty bad.
I have a little bit for the both of you. I agree that there isn't a wild tone shift after the prologue, I guess, for this movie. And not just that, but like when we get that tone shift, the way that Jada Pinkett
My wife's name!
just acts as like a verb. You know, like I know it's something you do, but man, she's acted, especially when she's not saying anything. Like I swear to God, it looked like she had bed bugs. She looked so itchy.
Just stirring in her own skin.
Yeah, no matter what, if she is in the forefront of a scene, she was doing just a little bit too much at everything that she's doing.
Maybe in real life, at this time when she needed this role, she was, in fact, in a bind, and Nate had to help her out.
I didn't even remember that part of this movie.
Yeah, she has to end up banging Nate, much like Jennifer Connelly had to do in Requiem for a Dream for some cash, because she's in a bind, and so are Nate's pants.
Oh my God. Listen, I was really happy to see Keith David in this movie. I am always elated to see that man. He's one of my favorites. And then the moment he's just like, I didn't take this out just for air. I paused and I had the hardest quiet laugh to myself I could possibly muster, because I knew this next bit of the movie was going to try to be serious, and I had to get that whole scene out of my head first.
Hold on, that is not Keith David.
Is it not?
No, like I was wondering what you all were talking about. That is not Keith David.
Oh, I gotta cut like half the show. That's all I got notes on is Keith David.
No. Yeah, that's a guy named Charles Robinson.
Oh, motherfucker! He's from Night Court.
He is from Night Court. Yeah, I was
it.
wondering what you guys were talking about.
Oh man, I love Night Court too. I'm sorry. That's so way off.
There's a guy later on that I 110% was positively sure that it was Dr. Dre.
Oh, that is Dr. Dre.
Oh, it is?
That's really Dr. Dre for sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that guy looks like Dr. Dre. He's generic Dr. Dre.
Yeah, honestly, there is a lot of forgettable scenes in this movie. Like, before we actually get to the point where they start to set it off, man, we go through like a whole half hour, 45 minutes, it feels like.
Yeah.
I'm still on the whole fact that Mac is out there macking on chicks.
Gotta do what you gotta do. But the idea is, you got these three girls that are part of a cleaning crew, just, working, shitty hours, South Central Los Angeles or wherever they are.
Yeah.
Just trying to get by, and they just keep getting set back. Like, one of them, their little brother who's got to get tuition for college so he can get in, or something like that. Everybody's getting set back, and they just need, like, a little bit of monetary breathing room.
I fucking died whenever, like, she's... grossly enough, has to bang not Keith David for cash. And then she comes in and gives her brother the check. She's like, I got you some money so you can go to college. And he's like, girl, I ain't even got no kids.
She was being like very Jared Leto at that moment. Like, I know what movie scene I just filmed. People are going to care about this. And slaps him right in the face with it.
And then she tore up the check. Like, you already did it. Why ain't you taking the money?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's just like, man, I'd rather be, getting a job, putting some money in my pocket, working for the state, slinging some yay, whatever you can do.
This was kind of one of those moments where I'm like, man, all these characters are kind of dumb. And also kind of explains why this movie's about a half hour too long. Because, like, after the prologue, we get our, like, nice little 10-15 minutes where everyone's introduced what they do, who they are, we love them, we hate them, all that stuff. But then we do cut to this cavalcade of scenes, these small little vignettes of just, like, the worst possible luck for everyone. Yeah. One thing after another. And mind you, all of these bad omens or terrible pieces of bad luck are somehow connected through the people in this movie, not just in a straight line where you get these layers of whom might lead to the eventual crime that they're going to commit, but like, this is like 5 people in a nice golden ring staring at each other like, who did that?
Yeah, the decision making is really bad, honestly. So we mentioned Vivica Fox watches someone get blown away in front of her, but this is still a bank heist, and some of the guys, I don't even know how many it is, some of them get away with 20 grand or so. And despite having seen that happen, Jada Pinkett's brother goes over to the guy's apartment, one of the guys that got away, and is like, oh, you got money stuff. Oh, I like your haircut. Let me get that haircut too, for whatever reason. That's a bad decision in its own.
Maybe if you got rid of that old yee ass haircut you got, you get some bitches on your dick.
So this kid paid for his unoriginality. He paid for mimicking a haircut with his life. He walks outside and they're like, that dude's haircut is not fly. He is then gunned down
all right.
in his prime. That's what happened.
You get a little case of mistaken identity. The SWAT team thinks this is, I mean, obviously, you know what happened. Yeah. He gets mowed down by accident, and this is the first big, like, gut-wrenching, oh my god, we have to do something.
But it comes off kind of ham-fisted, right? Like, okay, you got this cop who's probably a dirtbag, but once shit hits the fan, I guess he has a heart? I honestly don't know what he's trying to emote. His face says sarcasm.
Yes, dude. Scrubs is so bad at doing anything.
Scrubs, yeah. Sergeant Scrubs.
Yeah. Played by Dr. Cox, by the way. Dr. Cox from Scrubs. Don't remember his real name, but that is Dr. Cox.
Well, he was in Cliffhanger. If you haven't caught that episode, be sure to watch it. He was in Cliffhanger as well. The exact same character. It doesn't matter.
Platoon as well. Yep.
Also, the same character in Surviving the Game.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
All right.
I mean, to be honest, him being in Scrubs was the big surprise. Either way, like, I expected zero more out of this guy. He gave me exactly what I wanted. He's like this over-charismatic, over-aggressive, but not mean policeman. It's just this odd aura from this man, because he's jetting around like some superhero sleuth, piecing this very obvious case together. And then, like, when he comes to a head, or if he has to interact with, like, the main characters, like, it's full breaks. And, like, listen, I'm a nice guy. Even though I'm coming at you like a choo-choo train, don't worry.
I physically pulled the trigger that killed your brother, but also, he kind of had it coming. That haircut sucked. But there. If you need anything, give me a call.
You're right. He did have the air of, like, ladies, my bad.
Yeah. Like, I did feel like he might sort of start going that direction, you know, as the movie went along. He really didn't develop all that much, but he's never like the absolute shithead cop. He's always like, you know, I'm gonna skirt the rules, but like, I don't completely think you all are scumbags, but I still want to lock you up.
Look, all that was missing, like if you wanted to sum that scene up in exactly how you can picture it in your head from this character, he's hard chomping gum. He's got the gun in his hand, the barrel's still smoking, his sister is sitting there crying, screaming at him. He's like, look, in my defense, they got the same haircut. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I told you, Turkleton, don't get that haircut.
It genuinely comes off like that. Either that or like the SWAT team saw the AP on the back of his head and it's like, oh shit, it's armor piercing, and just lit him up.
Bingo.
So there's still like other things that need to get done. I don't even remember what they are before we start with this first bank robbery. But the idea is we got this 4 ladies now, and they're like, all right, they got 20 G's and only lost 2 guys? We could probably do that.
Yeah, that's not bad. And I hear those 2 in the back, they can just sign their names in X's. We got this.
Yeah. So they're like, all right, we're going to get some wigs. We're going to get some masks,
Yeah.
sunglasses, and we're not going to put any of that shit on until we get into the bank lobby.
Well, I was going to say, you left out the most important part. Yeah, they get the glasses, the wigs, the whole shebang. But rule number 4 of bank heist is to announce your plan loudly inside the bank that you're trying to rob. And scene.
And then just Vivica Fox, Leroy Jenkins!
For real. Like, I don't even understand, because, like, she goes from this timid bank teller lady to, like, massive bank robber in, like, 20 minutes of screen time. What?
Do you not see the scene where they're on the roof smoking the reefer? It takes one toke to turn into a fucking bank robbing madman.
Absolutely not, because I was so fucking embarrassed by it. I had to fucking leave the room for a minute so it could air out.
Well, you know, like, she's had this nice, cushy bank job for a little bit. She's been drug tested for the last 8 months. This is her first opportunity to blaze.
I mean, I guess. I guess they tried to show her off as, like, some kind of, like, pristine doll, not quite like the other girls. She even had, like, a bit of a conversation with Queen Latifah on the ride to somewhere about her nails getting cracked because she's in a custodial job now, instead of her fancy bake telling job.
Even this custodial job that they have, like, it's in, like, the Millennium Tower or something, one of the big, fancy, brand new, in 96, skyscrapers downtown LA. This building is already pristine before they even walk in.
It's fucking wild, because everyone's got their own reason. We're in the pristine bank. It just goes so quickly and so well, and they get out with, what, like 13 grand, something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
And there's, you know, this is 90s money, so that's decent cash, like 13 grand nowadays, whatever. But back then, that was something special. And what's the first thing they decide to do? Well, of course, they got to make sure that TT gets her cut, even though she ran away as soon as it started.
I didn't do fucking shit!
These are facts.
Yeah.
But she hid to protect her baby, because you got to protect your baby. whenever you take it to work with you and it drinks the whole bottle of Drano and CPS snatches it up?
Yeah, at this point, the movie just turns into Murphy's Law. Like, everything happens.
Yeah.
Fucking everything. Listen, I grew up poor. Sometimes I had to go to work with my mom, and she was just not a fucking idiot. She didn't leave me with the fucking under the sink shit. You know, she just put me in like an office or something, or sit me down in a chair.
Queen Latifah's having a little money orgy with her girlfriend. I don't know. They just need to show that Queen Latifah is a lesbian for a couple scenes. Doesn't make a difference.
I got very it's the 90s vibes when like scenes like that would happen, because like the rest of the girls, they would come in and be like, haha, we're okay with it, but like I don't like, just everybody's kind of shrug.
Yep.
Aside from robbing banks, fellas, it's B-plot time. And B-plot involves around our good girl Jada Pinkett and not Idris Elba, who, while she's casing the bank, is casing that ass.
Like, you're not even wrong. She walks in for a total of, let me check the old timer. Yeah, 6 seconds. And the dude that like runs the place eyeballs her immediately, like, hey, hot stuff.
Yep, I'm a banker that works upstairs. You want some dick? I can sign you up for an account right now.
Oh, sounds like you need a deposit.
Of this dick. Even his buddy is like coming down like, oh, you're in new accounts now? All right. Well, let me know when you want to come back to your real job.
He was like, shut up. I'm the manager of the bank. She don't know that.
Yeah. I own the bank.
Yeah, after she leaves, he just like parks his ass behind the counter like her old job.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But yeah, this is like you said it, the B plot. This doesn't really matter at all until it does. And even when it does, it still doesn't.
I kind of like that guy's character quite a bit. For some reason, the whole movie is built on these massive stereotypes, seemingly. And this guy, I was like, oh man, he's going to be a piece of shit, isn't he? Going to treat her like god-awful or something crazy. Just to kind of beat the whole horse to death again about how every twist and turn is terrible for these ladies, and they need to rob a bank to get out of the hole they're in. Fine. No, he knows that snitches get stitches, and I fucking respected the dude. Like, yeah, absolutely. I don't know nothing. I didn't see nothing.
He's there to, like, you know, uplift, etc., you know, kind of shit. And no matter what happens, though, Jada's still like, nah, I gotta go rob this money. I don't really want a better life. I want a quicker life.
How does it not come up what she does? Like, she never talks about her being like a custodian. She's in banking, she says. Okay, what bank? I'm also in banking. Like, they never have a conversation about this at all.
Think about it. If she said she worked at X bank, whatever one she worked at, he would have to know, being in the banking business, that bank was just robbed. He'd be like, holy shit, that was you? That's crazy. Would you like a job here? Yeah,
but she's a custodian. Like, that was Vivica. This is Jada.
You kind of have a point, because like she kind of takes the character from Vivica A. Fox into herself at that moment, because up until then she was never necessarily suave or silver-tongued by any means, but suddenly she's got this chemistry with this guy, and I know the movie needs him because it has to movie. But yeah, that's the reason why we're so confused, is because at that moment they kind of switch personalities, and it doesn't happen again.
Oh,
you know, it just kind of served the scene and left.
You know, I never realized that until you just said it. You're right. Yeah, we start out with like prim and proper, classy, you know, bank teller Vivica Fox, and then sort of like rough and tumble custodian Jada Pinkett Smith. Do you think that was in the script originally? Like that Vivica should have gotten with this guy, and Jada was just like the one that actually plans out to set it off every time? Like,
I could see some interference, because a lot of this movie, if you can kind of like in your head take out a lot of Jada Pinkett, the movie kind of functions regardless. Yeah. You know, like her getting away at the end. Spoilers. If that didn't happen, the movie just would have ended on like a really tough down note, which probably, you know, I would have respected that and everything.
Yeah.
It almost feels like she kind of wedged herself in the movie, whether it was her plan, her agent's plan, or maybe, you know, God's plan. Who knows?
God's plan.
God did.
Basically it's Heist Time Part 2, and they plan it this time at a big table in the janitorial building that they're supposed to be cleaning or whatever, where they pretend to be Al Pacino and a bunch of mobsters.
Sure, yeah, that totally happens.
I guess I was trying to be cute, you know, like if you had that moment alone, what would you do kind of thing. But the movie paints the situation as so fucking dire. I'm just like, haha, guys, all right, business time.
Yeah, for it to be like, we have to get this money, do or die. I get being lighthearted. I get having a fun time and trying to keep the stress off. But never once in the planning of the bank robberies is there any actual planning of the bank robberies. Only a gathering of supplies.
Right.
What do you get? Guns, car, wigs. All those things. Step 1, step 2, question mark, step 3, profit. You know?
Some of those are negotiable too. Can we just mention one little thing about the car, the getaway cars that Queen Latifah is always the one to steal? Man,
Right.
how she just like puts her fingerprints on the CDs and throws them out of the car. Just don't touch them. Just leave them in the car. Why are you trying to expose yourself like that? That's evidence.
Well, the movie can't movie, once more, unless everybody's just the same plane of dumb.
Yeah.
After a while, I stopped being frustrated and just started to think along the lines of like, am I supposed to notice how belligerently idiotic they were being right now as well? You know, am I supposed to?
For what it's worth, I'm talking a lot of shit, but I liked this movie. Spoiler alert for the end. I generally liked this movie, but there are a lot of faults.
Well, to be honest, I'm harping on it quite a bit, but that is the biggest fault for me. It's just like, man, like I understand that stupid people exist, and I understand that there are movies about stupid people, but the choices made that were stupid by these stupid people in this movie that isn't inherently stupid, it just feels out of left field. Like there's dissonance. Like at some parts of the movie, they're telling me they're smarter than that, and then they're immediately calling themselves a liar. Like, am I going crazy?
What they need in the acting spectrum was desperate and reckless. Yet what they gave us was ignorant.
Mm,
Ooh.
yeah.
Well, I guess you could kind of like chalk Reckless up to Queen Latifah. You know, she's feisty. But yeah, there was no like real focus because she was still stupid too. Man, you're right. Like Jada Pinkett Smith should have just replaced entirely just by anybody. Just anybody.
Just as a collective, I feel like they should have had someone speak up and say, hey, like, we've never done this before. Maybe we should talk to one of the individuals that we know that has, so we can get, another point of view, because we are janitors, we are not bank robbers.
And that could have been the catalyst of them going to the guy that had already robbed the bank to begin with, and in the middle somewhere her brother could have gotten killed, and that could have been like the halfway point where you get the conflict between characters. Instead, they just have a tiff about some lesbian fucking on a car hood, and Queen Latifah lets out a mama punch.
Oh, there we go. Hey! Speaking of Mama's Punch, what I got here today is Mama's Punch Tart Ale. This is from Crowns Hops Brewing Company out of Fresno, California. This is a 6.0% alcohol by volume fruit punch ale. It's brewed with cherries, oranges, pineapples, and guava. Let's see how this boy is. So this beer is as described. It is a tart ale. You do taste a lot of fruits in there, although it's just kind of generically fruit. I don't taste any specifically, cherries, pineapple, orange, anything like that. It's fruity. It's also tart. A little bit too tart for me, honestly. I'm going to have some heartburn after this. It's not bad, though. If you're into sours, if you're into tart ales, this is probably going to be pretty good for you. For me, it's just okay.
Well, speaking of pretty good, can we talk about those exactly pretty good disguises that they use in their second attempt?
Yeah, the little clear masks.
Yeah.
They needed to be former presidents, all right? If you're going to do Point Break, do it right.
I thought it was just the opening scene of The Dark Knight.
The Joker's outside. He's only minutes away. Fucking scrubs Batman. Just chomping gum all loudly. So, where were the other girls going?
All that we get from this is there's some built up pressure going on. There's cops arriving out front while they're having the hold up inside the bank. I don't know how none of the cops just don't look inside the window, but
Right.
Movie's got a movie, and Queen Latifah's got to drive a GMC Jimmy through the window and eventually through a Benihana.
Good.
I think this was just like the movie's big action point.
Yes.
At that, like it was shot to the T. Like, call this movie anything, but this movie looked good. I mean, the money at least went to the cinematography, and there's like a nice dolly shot for when she drives back out. The whole front of the place explodes and glass goes everywhere.
Yes.
Tire screeches, people screaming, classic Hollywood. And you notice that it's called like Balboa's Savings and Loan, and she's like, is that a reference to something? I don't know. A car just drove through a thing, and that's kind of cool.
It's super fucking cool. It's worthy of like Die Hard levels of action. Maybe Die Hard 2. But whenever that thing comes smashing through just a big white fucking truck, you go, geez, they're really ripping shit up. And any visceral imagery like that always elicits emotion. And they sell it hard for like 30 seconds until everyone's got $75K and decides that the best place to store it is in a fucking air duct.
Yeah, like an air duct in the building that they work in. Why?
I think it just goes along with the whole thing. It's just Murphy's Law. It just has to go wrong. Whatever they decide to do, the cause and effect will lead them to just misery.
Yeah.
Having said that, I'm supposed to feel empathy for these women, but like, as shit falls apart, after a while it tickled me. And I felt bad for feeling tickled.
Just like, oh, something else went wrong. Okay. Yeah, so they had rented, whatever word you want to use, some guns to do all this from their boy Dr. Dre. Did you forget about him?
Right.
No? Well, once their money is gone, they go back to him as like, hey, you know that sumbitch Luther? You know, our boss, the owner of the company that we work for? Yeah, he got our money, so we got to go take it back. Can we have more guns, please?
Why, of course you can. So they get the more guns. They go to this fucking brothel. Because, I mean, when you got $75K, where do you take it? But the local whorehouse. And
Yeah.
Not the
Luther...
local one. You got to go out of town.
Nah, this dude's in a hurry to get his blood nut. He's
Yeah.
he's forced, in Queen Latifah's words, to climb out the pussy.
They are extremely professional there. Someone did come a knocking, and that bed did not stop rocking.
No, dude, he was fucking balls deep. So fucking deep that he could not hear someone busting open doors fucking violently loud 10 feet from him. That, gentlemen, is how I wish to be.
Yeah, he's got to be either deaf or also stupid. Is everyone in this movie stupid?
That's my thing. That's the only thing that I could hang myself on, because the moment that I thought, like, okay, things are starting to be more relatable and I kind of get it now. They go out and they put all this effort into, I guess, planning a heist. I'm using that with a very wiggly hand gesture.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go and do this and they lose all the money and they go busting on this guy, leaving a huge evidence trail, including an eyewitness. And I'm just like, man, how are they going to explain them not immediately being caught because of this eyewitness?
Uh-huh.
So this is what the movie does. They take the eyewitness, they throw her in that mirrored room. They got Queen Latifah up there with some other random people like, all right, who done the killing?
Well, there's two things on her side. There is Queen Latifah threatening beforehand, like, remember, snitches get stitches, you didn't see shit. And also the fact that Queen Latifah was up on that lineup and she did not pull the trigger. TT, or whatever her name is, she's who pulled the trigger, not Queen Latifah. So both of those working just marginally enough in her favor.
I was just blown away by the fact that their immediate next move is to go plan another robbery in a crowded Waffle House.
Man, okay, so Jada's going on this big fancy black tie date. You know, in the middle of all of this, she has a social life as well. She's going on a black tie date with her banker boyfriend guy, and she does not have anything to wear to this. She wears, like, I don't know how to describe this, but it ain't good. It's not good.
I mean, well, if it's anything like her work fatigues and where her garage is, Ghostbuster.
Either way, dude's like, you know, I really like your dress, but let's stop somewhere on the way, and it's just, you know, a dress store.
I am super glad he's nice about it, because, like, it was just another thought of just like, oh, they're going to just throw another, like, stereotypical thing, like, you know, she's from the streets.
Yeah.
A Pretty Woman moment.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, he goes out, picks her up the little black dress. You know, they go out and go to this black tie party event with a bunch of banker friends, and she's just like, can we go? You just bought this dress, but I want to leave like 10 minutes in. So I need you to climb in this pussy. To be fair, though, this En Vogue song that they put in during the sex scene, it absolutely rips. That song goes fucking hard.
Kind of does. I gotta be with you, because otherwise the sex scene is just a little egregious. Like,
Goes on a little too long.
yeah, well, that, and it doesn't advance anything like relationship or motivation at all. And because like the last time we saw this exact character in an exact situation like this, Keith David was on top of her. So I don't know.
That's true. So, but we do have, a nice clean break now so that we can move on and get to this last final heist.
And boy, oh boy, is it such a final heist. What do? They case her man's bank. They lure him away to a false meeting at the local coffee shop. And then while he's away, the mice will play. They rob the bank. TT gets shot by a local mall security guard. And all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, like it's everything. Okay, big, nice bank. They don't even wear wigs this time. It's just masks and jumpsuits. They think they're fucking Slipknot or something. They roll in and, the cops show up. They stop everything. Dr. Cox knows who everyone is, and it's like, hey, Vivica, Jada, come on, just put your guns down. It's over. It's over.
I know, just like Luther was balls deep in that young lady, and we're balls deep in this scene right now, but I'm just going to have to stop you for a moment because we have to talk about, just briefly, how Sergeant Cox knew whom everyone was by the end of the movie, because it was barely an investigation, because most of this started because of him profiling everybody.
Oh, yeah.
But he wasn't wrong.
I guess. But yeah,
what are you trying to tell me then, as a filmmaker? Like he's just like, okay, bad, good?
Yes. Killing is badong.
Like, what are we talking about?
He starts trailing Queen Latifah's character because she's the only one with priors, and it's like, yep, this is definitely the bank robbers because she has friends.
He saw Jada Pinkett's face and was like, hey, that's her. You know what I mean?
Jada Pinkett's face on what came before 480p, because this is like the camera that you could buy as an addition on a Game Boy.
Well, I hear you can get those pictures printed off at Blockbuster. Let's get to it, fellas, before they run out.
Oh, shit. But yeah, this heist happens. I don't even know. There's a standoff. There's a gunfight. Yada, yada, yada. We can yada, yada, yada through this whole last 10 minutes of the movie, but it doesn't matter.
You know what? I do hate to blow this whole thing under the rug, but the way this whole ending scene is shot is unfortunately just like that. It's like, hey, I've seen other heist movies. Oh, this is where they have the helicopters. Oh, wait, they got a sniper. They don't know what to do. Where are they going to go? They got a ride. The whole movie is really amping up with this, and it just leaves nothing left on the table. There's nothing exciting about this heist. There's nothing that comes out of left field and surprises you at any point. The action is standard, and you realize that the coolest shot in the movie was a white truck driving over some windows.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it gets to the point where, okay, one direction is if they don't make it, then their lives are over. If they do make it, their lives are still pretty much over. There's not really a whole lot of getting out of this at this point. Everybody knows who you are. They are, their faces are going to be on TV screens everywhere. What do you do?
Let yourself get murdered or hop on the local KRT and ride to freedom.
That is a bus to Mexico, which I guess existed back then.
Just randomly. Just fucking randomly.
It seems pretty random, but then you realize they're in the middle of Los Santos and just finished their mission. The next one's just right there, so it kind of helps not traveling so far, to be honest.
Yeah, you just throw on the sombrero and, that's accepting your mission. You're on a side quest now.
I guess she's a federale now. I watch Blue Streak.
Yeah.
All your friends just got murdered. You ran and got onto a local bus to Mexico with your bag o' cash.
Yep.
Freedom isn't free, y'all. It costs a hefty fucking fee.
You got to think about the conversion rate, too. It's 96.
If you swipe the bank heist out with a demon, this is basically Demon Night, so whatever.
Yeah, it's no Point Break, but it's got a couple moments where I genuinely lost my shit laughing. I was really impressed by that white truck. I've seen it before. I'd see it again. But it ain't no Dead Presidents.
I am extremely mild on this movie. It's not particularly bad, It's a little annoying to watch, but really, I guess at worst, this movie's just a little boring, a little uninteresting, and just overall kind of stupid. It's really easy to pass over, and I kind of think you should.
Honestly, I think I like this movie a little bit more than either one of you guys. It does run a little bit long. It's over 2 hours. Easily could have been 90. But I think it's generally pretty watchable. Like, it's easy to watch. There's nothing egregious aside from, like, Jada Pinkett Smith's acting on occasion. I don't think it's bad. I thought it was generally pretty enjoyable, despite everyone in it just being dumb as shit.
Well, there you have it. Demon Knight with the bank heist. You have any strong feelings about the picture or the show? Leave it in the comment section below.
Make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons. Be sure to bash that bell icon so you don't ever miss what we've got brewing up next.
We're on the YouTubes, and you can find us anywhere. Podcasts are available. Give us a listen. Maybe you'll like us, and if you don't, maybe next time your ball's deep, we're going to come in the room and be like, climb out the pussy.
Keep fucking